what we are having here is I'm bringing you to the garden, and there's a quite sizable field also here. So we shall see what we can find over here. So there are already some plants at the side here and some trees. So over here, I'm bringing you to see certain organisms. Okay, so over here there are certain organisms that are quite small, and we do see some ants around. Where can we find the ants? Okay, so I do see some ants, and I even see some butterflies that is flying around, some small ones. But this is a garden definitely because of flowers. There are lots of butterflies around that are going around to collect the nectar. Sometimes in a garden, if you happen to chop down some trees, right, you may see things like this. Okay, so what we have here is a tree that is already been cut, and you can see a lot of bracket fungus growing around it. Yes, bracket fungus, correct. Eldrick, yes. So these are the white bracket fungus. So you can see that the white bracket fungus is actually growing quite a bit, even over that other particular part. So that is, I think, part of the root that has grown out on that side, and is also having fungus growing on it already. Okay, so I do see some ants also. Rotting log community, definitely ants are a common feature, and sometimes some termites also. Okay, so that is white bracket fungus. Definitely, fungi is the one of the decomposers that is decomposing the things around. Let me check time. Okay, we still have time. Okay, let's continue to the garden part. I see some yellow butterflies already. Okay, not sure whether you can see them. Okay, so over here, I can see some yellow butterflies flying around. Where's my cursor? Okay, yeah, I cannot find my cursor. Maybe it's too bright. Okay. Yeah, I need to open the chat box. Yeah, correct. That's the common yellow, all the common yellow butterflies around. So moving on to the field area, the big field, usually you may be able to find some other organisms if we are observant in a garden. Now, yesterday, the heavy rain could have affected the organisms, and I do see some birds. Some birds around. I do see some birds around, and I see one uncle trying to mow the grass. Usually, when the uncles mow the grass, right, you could also see birds around, because sometimes the disturbances of the cutting of the grass can actually cause some insects to be disturbed, and that's when the birds will be there to get ready to eat the insects. Okay, so we will continue moving one round. Okay, just see whether there are any organisms around. I do see and hear quite a lot of birds. Okay, do see and hear quite a lot of birds. So there are even some birds flying in the air also. Okay, so let's continue. Okay, so here I also seem to have another rotting log community with some fungus that is growing at the sides. Okay. How come our classes are not held at this center, Sophia? This is actually the Telok Kurau class. Normally, this is also a physical venue, but this year, because the students chose to go online, so I am here physically because the class before this, the P3 class, is also a physical class with some online students, but the P6, the parents chose physical, no, it's online class, so that's why it's online. Where is this place? This place is in Telok Kurau. In Telok Kurau. Okay, I see a lot of other butterflies around also. So this is a shadier spot with fencing. So you can see the fencing here, and there's quite a lot of plants that are the weed plants that grow on top. Okay, so normally for this kind of plants that are growing along the side of the fence, there's also a lot of insects like spiders and sometimes even lizards around. Okay, so let me walk around and see whether I can spot some other living things, other organisms. Okay, so once in a while, must watch where I step, just in case I step on some organisms. And must also watch the ground because sometimes lizards could just run across the ground, and if you're not careful and you can't spot them. So walking around, okay, I'm actually going into the part of the field where it's actually more grassy. So you can see the difference between that stretch of the grass is actually a bit more uncut, whereas the one that I have here is quite cut. Okay, so stepping over. So over here, the grass is a bit more grown. Oh, another bird just flew past again. Okay, so I do see quite a bit of overgrown grass here and quite a number of birds on the ground. Okay, flying around and waiting to get to the food. Okay, let me see any other lizards around. Sometimes there could be other organisms or insects in the plants and leaves. So I'm looking around for plants and leaves. Looking out for spiders' webs also. Okay, so the weather is quite hot. But you do still see quite a lot of butterflies that are flying around. Okay, getting the nectar from the flowers. But in terms of other insects, I don't see many. Okay, and lizards also. Because sometimes in a hot afternoon like this, it may be too hot. Okay, it may be too hot. Okay, so over here, this place is blocked. Girl is passing through. Okay, let me quickly walk through. Okay, let me pass through. Okay, so this is the big open field on the hot weather like this. Most of the organisms may be hiding. And here, I'm not sure whether you can see it. Can you all see the small housefly there? Hiding in one of the leaves. Yeah, so sometimes houseflies can also be here, hiding from the heat under the leaves. Okay, organisms tend to like to hide, especially on a hot day like this. Okay, so that's more or less the garden visit ready. Lots of birds around. Okay, but other than that, yeah, but lots of butterflies also. Insects wise, not many, and lizards wise also, not quite a lot. Yeah. Okay, right. So let's go back to class and then we will continue with our other parts. Yeah, let me see. How much time do we have? Oh, so hot. Oh, my laptop is very hot. Pray that you'll not overheat. Oh, shucks. Okay, now back to the car park. Yeah, now it's the walking break. Walking break.